You got to learn when you need to shift from that hustler mindset to a business mindset. Because as long as you're treating your business like a hustle and not a business, it's only going to grow but so much. That was major key for me.
Welcome to the Brand Hustlers Podcast, where innovation meets ambition and stories of success inspire the next generation of business leaders. Each episode, we dive into the journeys of those who hustle, those who make their dreams a reality, and those who are shaping the future of business. Whether an aspiring entrepreneur, a seasoned business owner, or simply a dreamer with a vision, you're in the right place. So get ready to ignite your passion, learn from the best, and transform your ideas into action. This is where your brand story begins. Welcome, Brand Hustlers. Welcome back, Brand Hustlers. It's your boy Ryan Roundtree, also known as Tree the Creator. And today we are with Baltimore's own, one of Baltimore's best, Dr. Baltimore. So I came across Dr. Baltimore a few years ago, following his fitness journey, following things he has going on in his gym. I'm not going to get too much into that backstory, but we're going to get a backstory on him and how he's been able to be that brand hustler and what brings that drive and the hustle out of him. So what's going on, Dr. Baltimore?
Man, I'm appreciative for this opportunity to be here, for real.
All right, so I guess give us a little backstory on yourself. Like, how did you become Dr. Baltimore?
So basically, I actually earned the name Dr. Baltimore while I was given the name Dr. Baltimore through Instagram. Actually, one of my former clients, Tiffany, she started calling me Dr. Baltimore. At first, everybody was like, oh, he a surgeon, he a magician, he doing magic trick. So I had a hashtag before, like, want to see a magic trick. Right now, you know, in the time we live in, BBLs, lipo, all that kind of stuff is very prevalent. So a lot of people are rushing to do that, and I was pretty much just like dropping bomb at the bomb, talking about the transformations, and they was like, yo, these people starting to look like they went and got surgery. So I actually used to have clients where people was asking like, yo, who's your surgeon? Who's your doctor? They're like, man, he right here. They're like, it's a doctor in Baltimore? They're like, yeah, in the gym. At that time, I heard it, and I was talking to somebody, and it was like, yo, that's really catchy. I've rebranded my whole business around it. And I was just like, you know what? I went and hit a graphic designer up, you know what I mean? Started getting the little templates for Instagram, changed my brand colors and everything. And it was like, all right, it's stamped. Like, I'm Dr. Baltimore. And it just, I ran with it from there.
That's what's up. So where did your fitness journey start? And like, say, how did you get to where you are today?
All right, so my fitness journey started relatively young. I've been an athlete my entire life. I had a cousin who was better than me in sports, and he had like a lot more familial support, etc. So he used to be able to go to trainers and stuff like that. I wasn't allotted that opportunity, but I used to go over his house, and like I said, he had a nice family, so like he had weights and stuff in his house. So I'd go over there and try to mimic the stuff he was doing, and that pretty much started me working out. I really fell in love with like working out. I went to prison, you know what I mean? I went to prison at a young age. I think when I went to prison, I was 16. I probably was like $160, $165 at best. And I was, and I'm looking at guys that got them, they like this, you know what I mean? So I'm like, it's time to start eating these weights. And that's what I started doing. While I was there though, I used to still try to like learn as well. Read, learn magazines, different books to actually study the why behind it. That's what a lot of people don't really get into when it comes to working out and training. And that's what makes me so different. It separates me. I can explain everything I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And that was pretty much it. Once I seen what it could do for my body, the confidence, the everything, it was just like, it was a drug.
Right. Being as though you have, you know, like I would say the knowledge, you say reading all these books. I know, I would say hundreds of trainers and they read countless books. What else would you say, I would say separates you? Like what makes you like, man, I want to work with him. Like what other offerings do you have that really makes you stand out against the competition, so to say?
To be honest, the experience, you get what I'm saying? So sometimes I try to get this advice to a lot of like up and coming trainers when they asking me certain stuff. Workouts are free. You know what I mean? You can find workouts on the internet. You can find meal plans on everything that a person can get from you, like that's tangible, a person can find with enough time for free.
Right.
So it's your job to create an experience that cannot be replicated. And I feel as though I stand out there. From my gym to my workouts to my presence to the way I interact with people to my social media presence, I create an experience that cannot be duplicated with my clients. I have clients that may come in planning on being there for 90 days and they haven't left in 4 years. like it's a joke within my gym. Like they tell you like, yo, we a gang. You know what I mean? We're a cult.
Gang.
Yeah, I'm their favorite toxic relationship. You know what I mean? Whereas though like just the intangibles and that structure that I have within my gym, it just can't be replicated. I built a family. You know what I mean? They're not just clients. I built a family. I've built a network because I work with people from all different walks of life. You can come in my gym and literally find everything from a lawyer to a doctor to a nurse to a teacher, to a notary, a chef, a realtor, whatever it is that you like. I literally have a pool of everything within in-house, and it's pretty much, it goes from being more to just a gym and now it's family. And once you can breed that kind of culture, it's similar to like football programs at like a Michigan or a Penn State or a Bama.
Roll Tide, baby.
Right. You know what I mean? Where they've bred a winning culture.
Right.
And once you step in those doors, you know what to expect. And now, if the bar is already here when they come in, it's like it leaves nothing but I gotta succeed. I have to excel, and I don't tolerate and accept anything. They know that winning is the standard, and that's something that I don't feel like is being duplicated anywhere else.
So what would you attribute your grind to, like your hustle? Like what cultivated that mindset? Like what would you say, if you could narrow it down to like one or two things, what really makes you say, man, I gotta go hard for this Dr. Baltimore brand, for myself, for my family, whatever it is?
To be honest, the first thing that really made me get into that transition was my son. When I found out that I was having a son, I was straddling the fence in life. Once I received confirmation, like, yo, it's a boy, I was like, yeah, I can't let him. I already made enough mistakes, you know what I mean? I got enough game for him, so I got to do something differently. And I don't have a plan B. That was one. And then just like that underdog mentality, like I keep being doubted. The cards keep being against me. Like sometimes by my own hand, like I won't sit here and cry like I'm a victim of life. You know what I mean? Sometimes I've had a couple laps and judgments that I had to end up digging myself out of. But just the fact that I know that you're waiting on me to fail, I gotta prove you wrong, and I gotta prove myself right. It's more or less about proving myself right than proving you wrong. But I'm gonna kill two birds with one stone. And then the stranger support. There's so many people that I haven't even met, like that didn't even know I exist, that'll reach out to me and tell me how I motivate them. I'm the reason that they're doing X, Y, Z, or made this change or took that step. So it's like, it's a microscope. Like I'm low key under a microscope. You know what I mean? Whereas though it's people watching me that I'm not even aware of. So when I step, I gotta make sure my steps count.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you say what would your advice be to, let's say, 21-year-old Justin?
My advice to 21-year-old Justin, it might be a little different than most people because by the time I was 21, it was like I was almost 30. By the time I was 21, I already had 5 years in prison. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It sounds pretty cliche, but it's so true. It's going to happen when it's supposed to happen. Don't force it. I feel like a lot of people try to force forward motion, and they confuse motion, or I should say activity, with achievement.
Okay.
Right? Never confuse activity with achievement, because if you look at something like a hamster is always in motion, right?
Right.
But where's it going? Nowhere. Right on that wheel. It's going nowhere fast. You get what I'm saying? So just because I'm moving doesn't mean I'm actually accomplishing anything. So when things start to look slow or things start to look like it's not going up, pause. Don't react. You gotta pause, sit down, assess, and then move. And that's one thing that not just myself, but I'm sure others do. That's where a lot of people tend to mess up and lose, being extremely reactive, especially if their emotions are involved in dictating those actions. So I would tell myself, use a little more logic and less emotions. Pause and understand that it's going to happen when it's supposed to happen. Just trust the process.
Yeah. What sacrifice you say you had that you made in order to make Dr. Baltimore what it is today?
When I first started this, I was in a relationship. Like when I first, dad had went. You know what I mean? Because the time that I needed to invest into my business was taken away from the time that I needed to invest at home. At the time, I didn't think I was taking away time from home because I'm like, look, I'm trying to build this so I can take care of us and we can be blah, blah, blah. But at home, it was coming off like I'm putting this over top of that. You know what I mean? So that was a big sacrifice because I still had to choose to do it because I had to be financially stable. Like I said, I didn't have a plan B. Another thing I say that I sacrifice is some friends. You know what I mean? Things that I'm learning along the journey is that there's not enough room for everybody to go. People who I feel as though put me in situations that aren't going to propel me forward. Not saying that I had to completely remove myself from them, but I got to deal with them from here versus right here. Because all it takes is
Right.
That right there, and everything can be gone.
Right. They expect you to ride. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I guess if you give me a little bit of, I would say, backstory, what part of where'd you grow up at, and like I guess what was the dynamic your neighborhood growing up, and I would say ultimately what kind of led you to the initial, I would say going to prison.
All right, so I mean, growing up, my life wasn't pretty. It wasn't all that bad, but it definitely wasn't all that good. My father was from over east and lived there. My mother was from over west. So I used to float back and forth in between those two homes for a while. Then my mother started doing all right, tried to move us out. She liked to keep us out in the county to try to, you know what I mean, try to provide a better opportunity or whatever for us. But things at home weren't the best, if that makes sense. So I would just continue to run back to what I know. You know what I mean? All my homeboys are here. Here wasn't always the best environments,
Right.
which opened me up to a lot of opportunities to get in trouble. Not that I was doing it to seek trouble, that was just what I wanted to be around. And then things started to take a little turn for the worse as far as at home with my mother. I wasn't really messing with my father at all. You know what I mean? Financially, things weren't where they were supposed to be. And I felt like I was put into a situation where I had to provide for me at a young age. You know what I mean? I needed to provide my own safety. I needed to provide whatever materialistic things it is that I wanted, etc. And being as though I had already had a taste of it, I wasn't going back to pay less shoes and choose some Kohl's, and
Right.
I wasn't going back to that. I wanted what everybody else had. I wanted Air Forces. I wanted the dopes when they came out. I wanted LRG, Black Label, and academics. I wasn't going back to wearing that other stuff. So I did what needed to be done in order to make sure I could maintain that lifestyle. But at the time, like I said, that put me in some dangerous situations and then conflicts at home with my mother. So ultimately leading me to being put out. I'm going house to house, you know what I mean? Going with my homeboys. Might stay here, stay there. I might just come back to my mother's house to grab some clothes, and then I'm out again for 2 weeks, you know what I mean? So I guess you can kind of draw a picture from there on how I was living. Then I finally had started getting myself together. I earned a scholarship playing ball. Ended up it's high school, 10th grade now. I'm going to St. Francis Academy. Started varsity up there as a sophomore. First St. Francis Academy football player to go all MIAA. At the time we was in the MIAA. All MIAA, and did it as a sophomore. Started getting some interest, you know what I mean, from schools. On a roll. Like I'm getting myself back together now. Coaching, we went through a coaching staff change. Coaches ended up quitting halfway through the season.
That's crazy.
Yeah, coaches ended up quitting halfway through the season due to some politics, and my coach was actually the one footing my tuition bill. That put a nice little strain on me. Not staying at home on mine, just moved with my father. I just touched back with my father basis. He had just got himself together, got out the program, got some housing help. So I'm going there. I think I was only living there about 3 days and ended up locked up. You know what I mean? Ended up locked up. I got shot that night, got locked up in the morning from the hospital. Life took a real crazy twist going from there. And that was in '09. I was 16. I ended up catching 10 years behind that. And then life got real different.
I would say, what would you say your biggest lesson would be from that, from that time in your life?
My biggest lesson, you cannot straddle the fence. And again, I hate to sound cliche, but you cannot straddle the fence. And what I mean by that was, during the day, I wanted to be the honor roll student. I wanted to be the standout football player. I'm in school. I got my, you know what I mean? You had to wear uniforms at St. Francis. I'm coming back round the way. Now, you know, St. Francis is over in Greenmount. Mm-hmm. I remember probably like the day before the stuff happened, I'm on North and Linden. We at the basketball court at White Lock, and my man looking at me like, yo, what he got on? You feel what I'm saying? Because all them running, they going like Doug and all that. You feel what I'm saying? I got on slacks and slippery Earls. You know what I mean? So it was like, I ain't even really blend in no more. But I wanted to be a good boy on that time. But as soon as I came out that uniform, then I was, you know what I mean? Gears. Yeah, I was switching gears and it was full throttle. And it wasn't like out of malice or like I was just a bad person or I wanted to hurt anybody or anything. It was just like I was taking care of me.
So did you feel as though you had to like almost like prove yourself, so to say, like when you took the uniform off? Was that I guess something in your mind that was because it's like, I mean, I know for me, like I grew up in Woodlawn, and so it was one of those things where like I'm a county boy, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, and I know with a lot that was going on out there, it's like you almost wanted to prove yourself when you're around your family that's, you know, from down the hill, or, you know, it's almost like you gotta
I'm not gonna necessarily say prove myself. It was just like one of those mindsets where it was like, man, it is what it is. You get what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't much thought going into it. It was just pretty much, this what we doing. It was like a job almost. I go to school and do whatever I do. Once I clock out, and then I'm just here. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And but I was straddling that fence, and what I learned, when you got one leg on this side of the fence and one leg on that side of the fence, eventually that wind is going to knock you on one side. And if you put yourself in a position where you cannot dictate what side, you can't cry about the consequences. I know I put myself on that fence. When God came and tested me and said, all right, you want to sit on this fence, but you know you're supposed to be here? All right, watch this. And I fell on the other side. It was like, all right, you wanted to play big boy games, right? Well, this is what the big boys do. This is where they go.
That's deep. that's crazy. So definitely see, the growth and where you are. You've managed to grow. I mean, great social media following. Like you said, you got people that are hitting you up out of the woodworks that you have absolutely no idea about. If you could summarize, what do you do for people that don't know who you are? What is it that you do, and why are you so passionate about it?
If you ask me what I do to the world that don't know me, they're going to say I'm just a trainer, right? I train people, I get them good results. If you ask me what I'm doing, I transform lives. The gym is just my platform. So I own a gym in White Marsh. I do small group, large group training classes, strength and conditioning sessions for athletes as well. I'm an online fitness coach. I also own my own supplement brand. So that's the gist of it. Now, my process, I'm very big on discipline and lifestyle changes, right? Discipline is the cheat code that so many people are looking for. An undisciplined person will never, in my opinion, experience sustainable success. So I take lessons from the gym where people think it's about the gym. And once I can instill those principles into you, tracking your meals, eating clean, drinking your water, showing up to the gym, not on time, but early, holding you accountable and burning you when you're late, holding you accountable and burning you when you miss sessions without communicating, holding you accountable when you're not making your cardio sessions on your off days, etc. All of that, if you do those things, you will get the results that you're looking for aesthetically. But what people don't take enough time to step out of themselves and see is the thought process that I'm changing within you as well. Because now, if you can do all of these things, guess what how does that transfer to life? I can't show up to the gym late, right? So guess what? I can't show up to my other appointments late. I had to take time and prep what I eat, this, that, and the third. That's prior preparation. I'm preparing for my meals. What else, man, I need to prepare for? I got a big presentation at work, or I have school shopping coming up for my kids. I need to prepare financially to start putting money to the side, et cetera, et cetera. But these are all discipline teaching techniques that I use through the gym and instilling people that can carry over throughout their entire life. And a lot of people don't realize it until they stay with me for a long period of time, and then they start to see where it rubs off in other areas of life. And that is something that I take pride in.
So what makes you, because I mean, I know we all come across all these stumbling blocks, hurdles. What ultimately, I would say, has kept that drive to help other people? Like, yeah, what else has kept you wanting to do this day in and day out?
I wanted to help. That's what it boils down to. And some people will say it's bad, you know what I mean, like a form of trauma bonding. But I wanted to help. So my goal is to be to others what I wish somebody would have been to me when I didn't even know I needed the help. I wanted somebody else to see it, right, and just do it. So now it's like, I gotta keep going. I gotta be successful, because if I'm a failure, that kid might not listen to me. That 15-year-old or that at this time, they already up the porch that young, but that 12-year-old might not listen to me when I tell him, shorty, you ain't really trying to jump in that water like that, because why should he? I don't even have nothing to show for the alternative. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If I can take this legal thing right now and, make it blow, I can sit with the drug dealers, you know what I mean? Where they got the bust down watches, I got jewelry. You know what I mean? They got the $1,000 tennis, I can afford that. They got the foreign cars, I got that. You know what I mean? Like, everything those benefits that you think are benefits, bro, you can get the same thing with this path right here. You get what I'm saying? But he's not going to listen to me unless I can put it in his face and show him. If I had to obtain that through doing this, I don't mind doing it. You know what I mean? And it doesn't feel like work. Ultimately, the gym, and I say it all the time, and everybody don't understand it because I don't know exactly what's next for me, but the gym is a stepping stone for me in life, and it's just my platform. It's something I'm good at doing, and I enjoy it. But my ultimate call, I'm going to end up doing something back working with these kids. You get what I'm saying? This is just going to help propel me there.
Absolutely. So I mean, and that's the reason I asked you to do this podcast is I see that you're a brand hustler. Like you eat, sleep, and breathe what it is that you do, and that you put out there as far as this training is concerned. For the young entrepreneur, that young brand hustler looking to be a brand hustler, what would you say to them as far as pushing forward with their dreams and their aspirations, even when they don't feel as though they're getting the support of their closest friends or family?
First things first, I would tell them that may be a good thing because they may see something in you that you don't see and they may be scared of your potential. So don't worry about it because the support that you need, 9 times out of 10, is going to come from those who don't know anything about you. And that's how you know it's genuine support because they have no bias. The only thing they know about you is whatever talent, service, or whatever it is that you're offering and they're choosing to support financially. Whatever it is that you have has to be good because these people have no reason to support you besides what your business is. So you don't worry about them. You take that time, you take that energy, and you pour it into capturing more of those strangers that are willing to support you because stranger support is what makes people rich. That's what makes people successful. Not the people that are closest to you, not your homeboy, your cousin, and it's not any of them. Those are going to be the ones who actually may end up being the anchors weighing you down because they're going to feel entitled. Oh, bro, look out for me on this. Look out on that. Oh, I ain't got it right now. But you don't want to have to deal with that. You know what I mean? You don't deal with that from strangers. Why? They don't feel like they even have a leg to stand on to even come and ask you for anything like that. So you go pour all of your energy into catching and attracting more of those strangers that see and believe in what you're doing, and you treat them well.
Right.
You treat them great because eventually those are going to be the new friends.
So I mean, what happens when you reach that level of success, and now you get that the people that feel entitled? Like, what happens to those people?
Man, what happens to them? I mean, you can't let them make the U-turn. You know what I mean? You can't let them make the U-turn. You gotta make them stand
Like,
on.
come on, bro. Like, man, I believed in you from day one, dog. I was there, man.
I mean, you don't have to be. I don't think you should be rude to them or malicious or disrespectful. I mean, you can probably. You know what, bro? I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I'm glad you saw that. You know what I mean? And it literally can be that short. You don't owe them anything.
All right. So I know I heard you mention, you want to get back. You want to actually get to, doing more with the kids. Like, so what's next for Dr. Baltimore?
So I spoke to I had a couple speaking engagements, speaking to some at-risk children, working with a couple different companies. I actually have received a couple inquiries over the past, say about 2 months about some possible speaking engagements as well with other groups of kids. So I'm definitely looking to expand more into that and just giving back. Like I train kids as well, you know what I mean? So helping keeping them situated, getting them going where they need to go. The goal first, I mean, all of them want to go pro, you know what I mean? But we know all of them won't. So the goal is to at least get them to these universities for free. And we've been pretty successful at doing that. So I would like to turn that up a little bit more, helping out more of the children. Eventually, I want to have my own program, you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
where I'm not going to these companies or these companies aren't coming to me asking me to speak for their children, you know what I mean, or mentor this. I'm gonna have my own where they're gonna be coming to me, and I'm gonna be running it how I need to run it. And I'm gonna have a nice team in place to make sure I'm doing everything, of course, by the book how it needs to be. But I'm gonna have some reach, and that's gonna be my thing because if you look outside right now at the way things are going with these kids, man, they going crazy. You know what I mean? And really, people like, oh, they just need to do this, that, and the third. No, them kids crying out for help. You know what I mean? And because it's so foreign to the average person, they don't know what them cries for help look like. Them kids crying out for help, man, and it's going to take somebody to go back and get in the field with them and literally break this cycle and deprogram these children what they used to seeing. And then from there, once you get like a fresh, clean slate of generation, now they can start passing it back down. Even if it's not through parent to parent. But if I got a big cousin, you know what I mean? Big cuz can now teach little cuz.
Right.
And little cuz might got a little brother. You know what I mean? So it started with big cuz, and he had to start with the parent. And now from there, we just hit 3 generations. You get what I'm saying? And that just keep going. And now next thing you know, you look up and it's like, we got a whole different mindset out here in these children, man, where they not out here literally risking or throwing their lives away.
Is there like, I would say 1 or 2 books that you would like, I would say recommend? I would say really got into reading like that, like in my latter years. If you had 1 or 2 book recommendations, what would they be?
33 Strategies of War and the 48 Laws of Power. A lot of people read those books, but they just read those books, if that makes sense. They'll read them to post them. They'll read them to make captions out of them. But neither one of those books are books that you just read from front to back. You have to actually dissect them. You need to read a little bit and reflect. You might even have to take notes, you know what I mean, and understand what's being said, but it'll literally teach you how to move out here in this world. Those are 2 powerful books. And then another one I'm kind of personally biased to is The New Jim Crow Law, Mass Incarceration by Michelle Alexander. That is a very powerful book. It's about this thick. It's another one that you cannot read from front to back. And those 3 books kind of helped shift my mentality. And I've been reading those books probably since I was 18, and I could pick those books up today and read them again today at 30 and still be just as engaged as I was when I read them when at 18.
So how can people find you, reach you, get involved, be a part of the Dr. Baltimore family, community? How can people get in contact with you?
I'm on all social media platforms, but I'm not too heavy on all of them. I'm working on that. My primary source of contact is Instagram at dr.baltimore. TikTok, I just made a TikTok. I'm trying to get into that because I'm hearing that's the thing now. TikTok is the same thing. Pretty much those 2. If you don't have social media, then you can catch me on www.drbaltimore.com. Now, the doctor does not have a period afterwards in the website. www.drbaltimore.com.
So what would you say that it takes to be a brand hustler?
Be a brand hustler, I'm going to say first and foremost, you need a vision. Where do you want to go? A vision is nothing without a plan. If you have a goal but you don't have a plan or a work ethic to match it, then you don't even have a vision. You know what I mean? You just have words. So those 3 things right there: vision, a plan, and work ethic. You had to be willing to go through those nobody knows me days until you get to who's that. Those days come next. Then it's, I heard of him, right? That would be the next phase. And then, that's such and such. You get what I'm saying? And each one of those phases look completely different. You need to be willing to withstand everything that comes through those stages. You got to be able to work them long nights. When I first started off and I was coming out, I was working 5 to 9, not 9 to 5. All right? 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. And the only break time I had was enough time for me to get my own personal workout in. I lived 5 minutes away from where I was training. I would run home and literally take a 5-minute shower and then come right back in. And I was doing that for months without taking a day off. You got to be willing to miss them parties, miss them outings. You got to stay home. You're going to have to get on that. Now we got AI and stuff, so it makes it a little bit easier. But now you got to be willing to go out there and learn how to use this stuff, use them tools. You got to be a sponge, because in order for you to be this brand hustler, you have to actually implement this stuff in these systems. But if you don't know it, you got to be willing to be taught it. I'm sorry, that was crazy. I just said that like that. I said teached it. I don't speak like that. You had to be willing to be taught. I was thinking and talking the same thing. You had to be willing to be taught. You know what I mean? So, and you got to be hungry. But the biggest thing that actually helped me take my brand to the next level, and a lot of people, especially guys coming from like those street backgrounds, you got to learn when you need to shift from that hustler mindset to a business mindset. Because as long as you're treating your business like a hustle and not a business, it's only going to grow but so much. That was major key for me.
Awesome. Well, that's it for today's episode, Brand Hustlers. I appreciate you taking your time to watch this podcast with the amazing Justin Inman, Dr. Baltimore. Find him, connect with him, get on it, because he ain't playing no games. You see, it's more than just fitness, it's mindset, things that translate over into real life. And he said he want to help. He said he want to be a part of helping to things that he wished that he had help with too. So reach out to him. Again, appreciate you for taking your time. It's your boy Ryan Roundtree, also known as Tree the Creator. Catch you on the next one. Peace. You've been tuning in to the Brand Hustlers podcast. a sanctuary for ambition, innovation, and the relentless spirit of entrepreneurship. We hope today's journey has fueled your passion, sparked your curiosity, and given you the insights you need to take your brand to new heights. Remember, every big achievement starts with the dream and the courage to hustle for it. Don't miss our next episode where we uncover more stories, strategies, and insights from the world of business. Till then, keep hustling, stay inspired, and turn your vision into victory. Thank you for listening, and remember, your brand's legacy starts right now.